Good morning. You're watching All You Need to Know on BloombergQuint Live, and I'm Alex Matthew. Hope you had a good midweek Christmas holiday. First, the headlines. After a decline in the previous year, stressed assets for India's banking sector see a rise, according to the data from the Reserve Bank of India. The Cabinet approves an outlay of 13,000 crore rupees for its decadal national census from April to September of 2020. It will update the National Population Register, which was last updated in 2015. The Cabinet also approves restructuring of the Railway Board. It will now consolidate 8 separate service cadres into the Indian Railways Management Services. And after cancelling 21 flights on Monday, Go Air cancels another 19 on Tuesday due to non-availability of aircraft and cabin crew. All right, now there's not very much that we can tell you about the international markets. A lot of them are shut for the Boxing Day holiday, so let's turn straight to India. Agam Vakil is joining me now to tell you all about the trade setup for the day and also what he's picking up from the futures and options space. Good morning, Agam. First of all, Merry Christmas to you and season's greetings. How are we looking here in India?
Season's greetings to you as well, Alex. We're not going to see a very volatile day because largely on account of expectations of lack in participation. We're certainly not going to have a lot of fund flows from FIIs, domestic institution activity. Let's wait and watch, but it's expected to be lackluster. We're not looking at a change in the SGX Nifty futures either, but let's take a look at how things did turn out for the markets last Tuesday. And we did have some amount of weakness as far as the Nifty 50 is concerned. Not too much going in for the broader market indices. The banking indices also showed mixed moves, but marginally in the red for now. Of course, we won't have any ADRs at this point in time, but the day before when the markets shut, we did see a very little change and on a lot of these counters, as you can see. But moving on, let's talk about fund flows, and again unexpected lines. Not too much to speak for. About 100 crores worth of net selling from FIs and DIs. It really didn't do anything either. Moving on, let's talk about contributors. And while we did see about a 0.5% cut as far as indices go, it was largely Reliance Industries and HDFC Twins along with TCS which was weighing down the indices. But moving on, let's also consider futures and options. Well, it is an expiry. It was the last expiry of this trading year, and we are looking at a slight bit of pickup as far as rollovers are concerned. Today is the day where we do see the expiry come through for this particular year as well as this month. Rollovers standing at around 54%. Move on, the bank futures also looking at a 51% rollover, and again largely on average lines. In terms of options, what we are keeping an eye on is around 12,300. We are not expecting the Nifty to close above that, considering the kind of writing that we've seen, and that will be evident in the change in open interest, which will be coming up for you in the next slide. And there you have the 12,300 call, looking at quite a bit of writing. Of course, the 12,300 put looking at some amount of profit taking, considering the indices came off to a certain extent. But the wicks, of course, again on expected lines fell and by another 3%. Now around 11.6. The Nifty put call ratio also came off to around 1.5 versus 1.66. And in terms of stocks, we are watching out for something like a Yes Bank, which did see some fresh longs coming in. Besides Yes Bank, we have something like a Reliance Industries, shorts more weakness there. And of course, among plenty other stocks, we have Nalco, which advanced by around 4%. And of course, United Breweries. I will be keeping an eye on USL, of course, because it was in the news. That will also be something which will be in focus. But Alex, we're not expecting too much in terms of activity today.
Thanks so much for that, Agam. Speaking of stocks that you have to watch out for in trade today, we'll come to that in just a short while, but if the signs are anything to go by, India is not going to lose the unpleasant distinction of having the largest quantum of non-performing assets among emerging market economies anytime soon. The RBI's latest report on the trend and progress of banking in India shows that asset quality deteriorated in the first half of the current financial year. Vishwanath Nair reports.
after a significant improvement in the asset quality that was witnessed in the last financial year, that is FY19, the entire banking system is staring again at an increase in the stressed asset pool. That is what the RBI's Trends and Progress report on Indian banking is showing. According to the RBI's data for this financial year, that is FY20, in the first half of FY20, among the public sector banking system, the SMA1 and SMA2 accounts have both gone up considerably. That is from 0.7 to 2.2. That's about 150 basis point increase in the SMA2 pool. Now remember, SMA1 and SMA2 are essentially assets where the dues are pending for more than 30 days but less than 90 days. So 30 to 60 and then 60 to 90 days. After SMA2, an account becomes an NPA if the dues are still pending. In both these cases, if the amount has gone up, now this is as a share of gross advances. So if the amount has gone up, that indicates that in the future, the NPA numbers could increase. But as far as the gross NPA as of September 2019 is concerned, that has been coming down from 23% in March 2018 to about 17.3% in September 2019. So that shows some improvement on the gross NPA side, but on the future NPAs, that is where the SMA1 and SMA2 numbers are important. Let's look at what's happened with the private sector banking system. There again, you can see that the SMA1 increased marginally, but SMA2, there has been a sizable increase in that number. So that is an important sort of increase in the stressed asset pool for these private sector banks. Among the private sector banks, of course, the gross NPA number has been consistently rising from 7.9 in March 2018 to about 9.5 in September. That is primarily because IDBI Bank got added to the private sector banking pool in January 2019, and that is why that gross NPA number has been going up consistently for these banks. Now let's look at some of the sector-specific issues that the RBI is pointing out. One sector in specific that the RBI has very clearly mentioned in the Trends and Progress report is that of agri NPAs, and that, according to the RBI, has been rising considerably. As you can see, public sector banks have shown a considerable rise in their NPAs. Now this percentage is as a share of total NPAs. So agri loans are now contributing to about 13.5% of the total NPAs, and for the entire scheduled commercial bank system, that number is about 12.4. The RBI is saying that this is largely coming in from states which have been giving out farm loan waivers, and that is why there has been a higher rate of default in these states, and thereby the agri loans for the entire banking system has been going up. Lastly, let's look at where India stands as far as the rest of the world is concerned, especially the emerging market economies. Here, as you can see, the India line is right here, and as you can see, the NPA number or the NPA number at the end of September 2019 is the highest amongst all the emerging market economies at about 9.2%. This is the same number that we were at back in 2016, March 2016. That number has been repeated. March 2016, especially if you remember, there had been a considerable jump in the NPAs, primarily because of the RBI's asset quality review that happened in October 2015, as a result of which the NPAs went up. So we are back at that number now. There had been a considerable decrease from March 18 to about 8.9 in June, but that number has gone up again, showing that there is a considerable rise in the stress that is associated with Indian banks, and thereby India as a whole is facing some difficulty. The RBI is pointing out that there has been some slowdown in the economy, the credit offtake is low, and obviously all of these problems are playing into how exactly the banks are going to manage their stress in the future.
All right, so clearly the stress in the banking system is something that you have to watch out for. You'll get data on that, of course, when earnings are reported. But for now, let's turn to the stocks that you have to watch out for in trade today. Somit Sarkar is joining me now to tell you all about the stocks in news. Somit, we've already covered a few, but I'm guessing there are a few more that we need to talk about right now.
Well, yes, definitely, Alex. Firstly, good morning. And the stocks in news, I'll start off with Bharti Infratel because they've extended the long stop date for Industar deal till Feb 24th. That is by another 60 days due to lack of approvals. Now, the management says that there cannot be any assurance that the merger can be completed within the extended time frame also. And now this will be negative for Vodafone Idea because they had plans to monetize their 11.15% stake in Industars on completion of this merger. Bharti Airtel would remain in focus because Airtel Africa's subsidiary Airtel Malawi has announced the price of its IPO at 0.02 per share. Now the company will be selling 20% stake and will look to raise close to $37.5 million US dollars. Now the listing is to comply with the local regulations of the subsidiaries operating license, which requires at least 20% of local shareholding. Now Malawi will be Airtel's second local market listing besides Nigeria. SBI Life Insurance, because IRDA said that the transaction executed by transfer of Cardiff is a violation of the IRDA rules, and Cardiff has carried out the sale of shares of around 5% stake without taking the IRDA approval. GAIL, because they have clarified saying that they are neither in the process of having of its pipeline business into a separate unit, nor they have received any such kind of directive which could be a relief for the stock. HCL Technologies, because they have announced the opening of a global delivery center in Canada. And lastly, couple of stocks on the back of bull deals. Firstly, Dishman Carbogen, where Motilal Oswal AMC has sold nearly 24.6 lakh shares, that is 1.5% stake, and Dixon Tech, where the promoter Kamla Vichani has sold 75,000 shares, that is 0.7% stake at 3,715 rupees each.
All right, thanks so much for that, Somit. Now, there were a couple of cabinet decisions, and we're going to tell you about both of them. Let me tell you about this one first. 8 separate service cadres of the Indian Railways will now be merged into one. The Union Cabinet on Tuesday approved the creation of the Indian Railway Management Service, which is a body that will have all the 8 cadres consolidated into one. All of the 8,400 employees at the management level will be amalgamated into the RMS. Now, Nishant Sharma of BloombergQuint caught up with Railway Minister Piyush Goyal, and this is what he had to say about the IRMS.
Well, the Indian Railways, which started the Railway Board and the services in 1905, has been largely working on departmental silos and departmental lines. All decisions are taken based on which department you come from, promotions, to the extent that members are also selected based on these departments. The effort is to break these departmental silos, make the entire railway look at the organization as one, work for one organization, work for a better future for the people of India, make the railway a very efficient, effective organization to deliver public service, to expand its operations. And to my mind, the efficiency of the railways, the modern outlook, the vision of the railways to make it one of the best railways in the world will be served by this major transformational reform decision.
Right, and does this also mean higher responsibility, accountability towards the chairman as well?
Very clearly, what we have done is the Railway Board has been downsized to have now 4 members and a chairman instead of 8 and a chairman today. Today, the members work on departmental lines. They are selected from departments, so the decisions are taken on departmental lines. In the future, the departments will all be merged in one, and functional members will be appointed. So infrastructure, member business development, member finance. Based on the function, we will have 4 members, and the chairman being designated as chairman cum CEO will have to accept much larger responsibilities.
And will not mean any retention. We have
There will be
8,400.
zero retention. On the contrary, promotion avenues will go up, because all the 27 general managers will now be given the apex grade. That's the secretary level grade, highest grade in the government of India. It's a golden day for the employees of the railways. They have welcomed it wholeheartedly. It has taken about 2 years of working with them to understand the various problems. But finally on 6th, 7th, when we had the transformation discussions in Delhi, where 400 top officials and about 800 to 1,000 all over India on video conferencing participated. It was almost nearly every employee welcomed it. Every management and every person from these 8 services welcomed it as something which is good for the railways, good for the employees, and good for the people of
And
India.
last 2 quick questions, sir. There have been talks also happening about the privatization of the routes as well. Where are we on that? The
Let
50
me
routes.
categorically state to you and through you to all the people of India, there is absolutely no question of privatizing Indian railways.
Okay.
But we are looking at a 50 lakh crore rupee investment in the next 12 years to modernize the railway. We are looking at more and more technology coming into the country to serve the railways better, better signaling systems, expansion of high-speed rail networks, expansion of dedicated freight corridors, serving with more security apparatus, let's say CCTV cameras across the rail stations and the railway trains also. All of these require massive investment. We'll be looking at joint ventures, public-private partnerships. We'll be engaging with people who are willing to come in and use our existing infrastructure, which is government infrastructure, belongs to the people of India. That infrastructure, to improve its efficiency, will engage with the modern world.
Now, as protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Register of Citizens continues, Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday asserted that rights and duties of citizens go hand in hand. He was speaking with regard to the violent protests in Uttar Pradesh that led to the damage of public property. Here's what he had to say.
आज अटल सिद्धि की इस धरती से मैं यूपी के युवा साथियों को, यहां के हर नागरिक को एक और आग्रह करने आया हूं। आजादी के बाद हमने बराबर देखा है, आजादी के बाद के वर्षों में हमने सबसे ज्यादा जोर अधिकारों पर दिया है। लेकिन अब जब हम आजादी के 75 साल की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं, आजादी के दीवानों के सपनों को आज अगर हम तोलते हैं तो समय की मांग है कि अब तक भले हमने अधिकारों पर बल दिया हो, लेकिन अब वक्त की मांग है कि हमें अपने कर्तव्यों, अपने दायित्वों पर भी उतना ही बल देना है। ये बात मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूं क्योंकि यूपी में जिस तरह कुछ लोगों ने विरोध प्रदर्शन के नाम पर हिंसा की, सरकारी संपत्ति को नुकसान पहुंचाया, वो अपने घर में बैठ करके एक बार खुद को सवाल पूछे, क्या उनका ये रास्ता सही था? उनकी प्रवृत्ति योग्य थी? ये जो कुछ जलाया गया, बर्बाद किया गया, क्या वो उनके बच्चों को काम आने वाला नहीं था? इस प्रदर्शन में, हिंसा में जिन लोगों की मृत्यु हुई, जो सामान्य नागरिक जख्मी हुए, जो पुलिस वाले जख्मी हुए, उनके और उनके परिवार के लोगों के प्रति पल भर हम सोचे क्या बीतती होगी। और इसलिए मैं आग्रह करूंगा कि झूठी अफवाहों में आकर हिंसा करने वालों को, सरकारी संपत्ति तोड़ने वालों को मैं बहुत आग्रह से कहना चाहूंगा कि बेहतर सड़क, बेहतर ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम, उत्तम सीवर लाइन नागरिकों का हक है, तो इसको सुरक्षित रखना, साफ सुथरा रखना भी तो नागरिकों का दायित्व है।
All right, now there are several stories on the website BloombergQuint.com, and we'll update that as we go over the course of today. But let me tell you about a couple of stories that you'll find if you log on right now. First up, the government will launch its decadal national census from April to September of 2020. It will also undertake the updation of the National Population Register, which was last updated in 2015. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar stressed that this would be a separate exercise from the controversial National Register of Citizens, and that no proof or document will have to be submitted. While announcing decisions taken by the cabinet on Tuesday, he said that anyone who lives in India will be counted in the census, and that this will help the delivery of targeted benefits. He also said that there will be no requirement of any biometric data. The National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has dismissed petitions filed by the Income Tax Department, which raised objection to the approval granted to Reliance Jio Infocom's scheme to hive off its fiber and tower businesses into two separate units. The Ahmedabad bench of the NCLT had earlier this year granted permission to the composite scheme of arrangement through which two companies were proposed to be demerged. That's Jio Digital Fiber Private Limited and Reliance Jio Infratel Private Limited. All right, well, there's admittedly less to talk about today, and that's understandable considering that the news flow is a little bit slow. It's a holiday season after all, but there's still lots to talk about, and you'll find all of that right here on Bloomberg Quint.